It was an accident. What's up, people? Hold up. Grab that for me, please.
This?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking defying gravity. Mommy had a good idea.
Thank you.
I'm gonna show you the microphone from the other place.
Where's the fluff?
Hold this, please. Thank you. So earlier last weekend, we went to go see Wicked. Of course.
Oh, it's really been a week?
Yeah, it's just under a week because Saturday. We went on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's up, Steffi? Not you. Yeah. What's up, Steffi? Glad to have you here. Here you go. Microphone for the baby.
What's poppin'?
So we're talking Wicked today. We went to go see Wicked. So there's actually a couple of really cool manifestation points. Mommy
Defying the 3D.
defying
Defying the 3D.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Defying the 3D.
Okay. This is a collab. I'm really good. I'm really good. Me and Mommy are going on a walk, and Mommy decided that she wanted to contribute to today's live. I was actually just gonna record a video. I was gonna do a live video recording, and she was like, "Hey, why don't we do this on a walk?" And now she decided to hit me with like, "Hey, why don't you talk about manifestation stuff from Wicked?" So I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. That works. That's really good." So. If you haven't watched Wicked, spoiler alert, don't watch this because I'm going to be spoiling Wicked.
All of it or just part one?
I don't know.
It's two very different
I mean,
things.
as a writer and
But
as
if you do it part two, then you can talk even more about manifestation because when Fierro talks about being brainless,
he does.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the foreshadowing, which is pretty funny because once you start learning about manifestation, you find it really funny when we talk about foreshadowing because foreshadowing is actually really what kind of what it was so funny watching the movie because I'm a writer outside of doing that, right? So as a writer, watching movies is really funny because I can like piece together what stuff is gonna happen, which a lot of people can do. Oh, hey, look, it's the doggy.
Yeah, these doggies get really loud. So the first one gets in here, they're like a rest of them are gonna pour out, and
Well, then why do we go this way?
Oh, I'm following you.
Oh, we start walking this way. Let's
You're
walk
my
the other way.
North Star.
Thank you, babe. All right, so let's talk about the manifestation secrets out of Wicked.
Oh yeah.
So which was the first one that you wanted to talk about?
Okay.
Oh, that's actually a really good one.
Unintentional.
Unintentional manifestation. This is where people need to be very careful. Oh, what's your opinion about the heat death of the universe? That's actually a really good one. Parim. Most of the things that we talk about and discuss when it's related to science are usually myths or fables from the scientific community. Nobody's seen the heat death of the universe. So essentially, the heat death of the universe is the equivalent of revelations in the Bible. That's why it's funny to listen to religious people, religious groups, and scientific groups go back and forth and call each other crazy because both of them equally have really weird, like mythological stories that both groups believe in. And it just so happens that the heat death of the universe happens to be one of the myths or the fables that come out of the scientific community or the scientific storytellers, because it's not like anybody has actually seen the end of the universe. So nobody knows what that'll actually be like or if it would actually happen. So I think of it as a funny little fable exercise because for the average human being, even if it did happen, it's something that has no relation to our physical experience in our lifetime. So it's a strange fable to even like consider in your day-to-day life. It's a weird thing. What's up, Sophia? we got a Sophia in here. That's my daughter's name. That's so funny. Okay, so back to story time. So we're talking about unintentional manifestations, which, Mama, why are you crying? What you want?
I think she wants to go back. Do I go get her?
What, do you want to go back the other way? Okay.
There's Christmas lights.
You want to see Christmas lights? You don't want to see Christmas
Some
lights?
decorations?
She could bite the other end, that's fine. Why is Tekken such a global icon? That's a good...
Because they employ archetypal figures.
They employ archetypal... Actually, you know what? You're 100% correct. And this builds onto talking about Wicked and other stuff. Tekken is such a global icon, and other stories are such global icons because they tap into archetypal figures and archetypal stories. So part of the reason why Wicked and The Wizard of Oz are things that have existed for decades after decades, and the only way that they can exist for decades is if they tap into archetypal stories, which means that these are stories that transcend culture and time. When we talk about Wicked, Wicked is an ancestral story, and she dropped her ball. Wicked's an ancestral story about, not ancestral, Wicked's an archetypal story about people being ostracized, not fitting in, magic, morally corrupt societies. What else? Going against a myth ritual as a form of making sure that social order is maintained. There's tons of things that are in there that are archetypal that fit no matter what culture that you're in. Tekken, when we talk about Tekken, you got the archetypal stories from Tekken where you have the fight with the father figure, which is a really big one. That's... Oh, she dropped it? Thank you. She's been dropping all the stuff. She dropped the ball too. Which one? She did. I had to pick it up. Shoot, okay, so archetypal stories in Tekken. You got the fight with the father, which is Jin and Kazumishima fighting, was it? Kimpachi, Heihachi. What?
Did I get her blanket?
Nah, she's good. She's good. We're not gonna be out too long. When they fight the father, fighting of the father is a consistent story, and if you actually pay attention to a lot of media, especially if we're talking like older stories, the fight or the defeat of the father is a very common story. That's where you got it with Zeus versus Kronos. You got God of War, which is Kratos versus Zeus, the son versus the father. And it's a recurring thing that happens a lot. Like a lot. Son versus the father. And then reconciliation with the father, which is super interesting because that's where you get like the newer God of War stories, which is where Kratos has to come to terms with being a father and having clashes with his son, which is super interesting. But yeah, that's a part of the reason why you have stories like Tekken or anything else that is an archetype, because the reason why is because they have archetypes which are discussed that, again, transcend culture, social, Tekken, and the story of Greek myth all continue to exist because they're still relevant today since they play mainly into archetypes, which is actually something I'm super interested in. I love that stuff. Can I do a flip? I have been able to do flips. I haven't done flips in quite a while. I need to train to get my flips back up. What do you think about the loss of calcium in the Earth's biosphere? People ask the funniest questions. I don't know. Not my thing. I personally am not well versed in it. So, if what? Through the collective unconscious, that a question was manifested.
Well, no, I meant the loss of calcium.
Oh, the loss of calcium. Yeah, I mean that's what I said. Oh, actually, that question and the calcium, both of them. The loss of calcium. Maybe it's because the skeleton armies are being raised. Or maybe somebody was manifesting it to prevent the raising of a skeleton army, because that would be scary, right? Skeleton.
Scary for Sophia.
Skeleton armies? Oh yeah, because she'd be like, scare me. Oh no. Okay, so we got unintentional manifestation. So one of the things that happens if you watch the Wicked story, uh, you'll hear, it's really funny listening to Elphaba sing the different songs and talk about the things that she wants by the end of the movie, because she gets them, but because she was vague in what she wanted and vague in how she explained it, she got everything, but not in the way that she wanted. What were the things that she mentioned that she wanted, babe?
She wanted, she sang that she wanted a celebration because of her.
Death. She got that in the beginning of the
That
movie.
people will see her and scream.
From terror.
Yeah, that she'd meet the wizard.
She met the wizard, but it was not what she wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are all really good examples because she got exactly what she wanted. The wizard and I, and then she realized, whoa, wait a minute. The wizard was not what I expected. And that's why it's important when people are trying to manifest things to focus on the feeling of what you want to create and not the specifics. Because when you focus on the specifics, you can get the thing that you want or said that you wanted, kind of like a monkey's. I think that's also part of the reason why why in Aladdin and Arabian folklore you have the jinn or genie, and with the genie or jinn, as they're actually called.
Baby? What? What? Dog?
Yeah, she sees the dog. Yeah, so for the jinn, they're actually quiet. Huh, that's funny. These dogs always bark over here. Well, thank you. Somebody said nice orthodox beard. Not really going orthodox, just been looking for where my clippers are. I finally found them earlier this week, so I'm going to be trimming the beard down. Unintentional manifestation, where was I?
Well, that alphabet was vague.
She was vague. Oh yeah, you gotta. She got what she wanted, but jinn and genie. So that's why when you see the jokes about jinn or genie, that you have to be very clear about what you want, because most of the time, yeah, definitely enjoying the nature. Whenever you end up giving them your wishes, why are you going that way? It's towards the dogs. No, not towards the dogs. No.
I see if there's Christmas lights.
Nah, not over there. So with Jin and Genie, we can walk this way to get the Christmas lights.
Okay.
That way.
What, this way?
Yeah, there are Christmas lights over there, baby.
But that's far.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Alex, that is correct. The jinn are demons in Islam. If you didn't know that jinn, the demons in Islam, are what we refer to as genies. No, I don't understand why people never made that like conscious connection between the two.
You make deals.
Yeah, you make deals with them. Jinns and genie are the same thing. Although the jinn is spelled D-J-I-N-N, which is where we get the pronunciation of the word genie, which is not J, G-E-N-I-E. It's the mispronunciation or the westernization of the term jinn. And now I'm in the dark. We'll probably need to go back to the light after walking a little bit.
What?
So we'll need to go back to the light. So
Yeah, it's dark in here.
Yeah.
That's why I said we should go that way.
That's fine. I don't want to go that way because of the dogs. I know you went that way because of the light. Yeah, you get the monkey's paw sort of situation where you end up saying what you want, but they give it to you in a weird, strange way where you get the thing, but in the getting of the thing, oh, thanks, babe. But in the getting of the thing that you said that you want, you technically got it, but it screwed you over. So that's why it's important to
Popular.
and
Oh,
popular.
she's gonna be popular.
Oh yeah, she was
So
most
other
definitely
people
popular.
can negatively manifest for you too.
Oh yeah, they can. Other people can negatively manifest for
And
you.
Glinda said that she was going to teach her how to talk to boys, and then she ends up with her boyfriend.
Oh, well, yeah. So the Galinda did do that. She did end up telling her that she's going to teach her how to talk to boys, and she most certainly talked to a boy. Ferrero in the movie. Oh, whoa.
What?
Yes, we live in Florida, currently in the dark of Florida. So yeah, that was one of them. What's another one? What else was in there? Oh, I'm a wizard apologist.
Oh, yeah. It's so you, though.
Yeah, of course, because I was like, what are you guys talking about? The wizard being like a terrible upper. It's like, no, the wizard in actuality is basically a powered somebody who is magical, although not in the traditional sense, because the wizard was actually able to. Yeah, I know. They'll go around because we're with the baby.
It might not see us because we're like wearing black.
People.
What was that? Is the dog about to blow up?
Yeah, it was a dog explosion. Okay, apparently their dogs beep. That was interesting. Mwah. So, the wizard being somebody who actually is magical, even though he's not the textbook definition of somebody who is magical, because the wizard, man, should just hold it. Make my life easier. So the wizard actually is somebody who's magical. And the funny thing about the wizard being magical, here, put that off to the side. Yeah. So the wizard.
Let me take off the base.
No, just slide in. It's fine.
Like this?
Yeah, just put the whole thing in.
Like that?
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's already off.
Okay.
The wizard from Harry Potter. Well, there are a lot of wizards in Harry Potter. I'm talking about the wizard from Wicked. Jeff Goldblum. He's somebody who gives off the illusion of being someone who's powerful, but in actuality, like, he bought a lot of the mechanical engineering knowledge to the point where it was something that you could consider magical. Like, all the technology that they had in the Emerald City, beautiful and wonderful. This man bought showmanship and order to the land of Oz. Order, marvel. He also bought peace. Peace is a very important thing, especially for society. So we had this boy who was out here giving people hope for years. Because how old's Elphaba?
She's like
20s?
early 20s.
Gotta be like 19, early 20s, because she's going off to college. So this man has been making order of the land of Oz for almost 2 decades. At least 2 decades. Because he's there. Yes, Wicked is basically the Wizard of Oz. The retelling of the Wizard of Oz, like a prequel, but focused on the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. The events of Wizard of Oz transpired during Act 2.
Ah, yes. So the events of the Wizard of Oz are from Act 2. Because if you didn't know, Wicked is actually a Part 1, Part 2 movie. Also, really funny thing. There's a funny thing that happens when I tell things to mommy over there. She I say things that are facts, and she doesn't believe me because it sounds like hyperbole until we actually go look it up, and she's like, "Oh wait, I thought you were joking about that." I'm like, no, because when we talk about, we were talking about the Wizard of Oz, and I told her, like, there are like 26 books for the Wizard of Oz. And it sounds like hyperbole until you go and do the research and find out, yeah, the Wizard of Oz is like a huge series of about, it was a little over, there was way more stories than that, but it was about 26 books in total. Bye.
Oh wait, you're not in the light anymore.
No, it's fine, because we're about to go inside.
What? I thought we were gonna keep walking.
Oh, it's too dark for the live.
Simply lie.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm a marketing consultant. All right. Bum bum bum. I ran my own marketing consulting company for like the past in February it'll be 6 years. So yeah. um, where was I? Hmm. We were talking Wizard of Oz. Wizard being somebody who actually is magical, if we consider like the things that he was able to accomplish, even though he's not able to do.
Like he can't read from the Grimmery.
He can't read from the Grimmery. He can't read from the Grimmery, but that's old magic. How could you look at like the stuff that he created and not consider that to be magic? Okay. Anyway, let's go. Oh no, I don't think it was Nike's. I think it was Grandpa. Do do. Oh, okay. Well, she's got better night vision than us. All right, I'm gonna go sit on
The
the what
porch.
you call it? Yeah.
Yo los vi al lado del gate. No, no, yo los vi por el fence.
Okay. Do 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 do. Brief intermission as we go back to the patio in the cold. It's cold as hell out here. What have you guys been up to this weekend? That's actually a good question. What do I think about Little B, the bass god? Little B is a funny character to say the least in the pantheon of rap. I like I found Little B as an interesting character for years, dude. That guy is funny as hell. There's certain people who, as like artists, I have mad respect for because of how they play around and joke around with the art form. And Lil B, the bass god, is definitely one of those characters where I'm like, you are very funny in terms of. Oh wait, I forgot I'm holding this thing. He's very funny in terms of how he decided to completely mess around with the rap world and the character of uh, the character of the rapper. He's a funny guy. I like certain deconstructionist artists. Like he's funny in terms of deconstruction for hip hop as an art style, eh, just in the same way that hey Emma, what's up? Yeah, so he's somebody who's really interesting in terms of like how he. Oh, the little one's still coming up the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's interesting in
You need help, baby?
how he deconstructs the hip hop archetypes and hip hop tropes. In the same way that Eric Andre deconstructs like late night shows and well, with the Eric Andre show, which is really interesting. I do like deconstructionist or postmodern art because I find it very funny, very interesting to look at the format in a funny way. So that's why I really do like stuff that's parody. Any what else? What else was there that happened in Wicked?
Uh, the prophecy of the one to come to be able to read the Grimmery. It was supposed to be some positive thing for the good and for the teaming up with the Wizard of Oz,
But it wasn't for. I don't think the prophecy for the one coming to change everything because I think the prophecy was that
that someone could read the Grimmery.
and it was supposed to change everything.
Well, they were supposed to to team up to.
No, I don't think that they said that, and that's the interesting thing when we talk about like actual quotation, and I'm going to be misquoting this thing, which is funny. The difference between actual quotation and like the direct verbatim quotation and then interpretation, because I think the actual quote was something around like that it was supposed to change.
It was supposed to be a teammate with the wizard.
No, because the original prophecy was supposed to be that somebody was supposed to come to read the Grimoire and create change. The wizard showed up and they assumed that the wizard was that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story was about how the wizard was. The story in the little play was about how the wizard was the person who did all this stuff, and it's like, oh, and behind the scenes they were looking for the person who would be the one to read the Grimoire, which ended up being the Wicked Witch of the West. Ah, stop, Mama. Have I seen Bad Boys? Yes, I have seen Bad Boys. I've not only seen Bad Boys. Mommy over there was in Bad Boys. Bad Boys 3. Uh No, you don't need to know anything about rap. That was just a random question where somebody asked me about a character. So today's supposed to be about the secrets from the movie Wicked. The secrets of manifesting from the movie Wicked. Because mommy brought it up as a topic, and I took it as a little challenge to go through and talk about. So the first thing was the unintentional effects of. Yeah. In a little bit. The unintentional effects of being vague in the things that you desire and the things that you want, which was a big thing that happened in the movie because people say the things that they want and the things that they desire. And it's funny when you pay attention to movies as a writer and look at foreshadowing, because foreshadowing is a parallel to what happens when people are very vague in the things that they say that they want. And they actually get them, but they were vague in what they said, so they kind of get like the genie, monkey's paw sort of wish, where it's technically what you said you wanted, but not what you really wanted. And that's why we focus on the feeling and not getting a specific thing. Because if you focus on getting a specific thing, you can get it, but you can have a whole monkey paw situation where you get something that isn't clearly what you want. Like in, for instance, what happened with Elphaba and Wicked. What did Elphaba talk about? What did she say?
I'm looking up the Wizard and I lyrics right now.
Okay, so with Elphaba, a couple of lines from the song "The Wizard and I" were about how people would scream when they would see her, um, that they would celebrate her, and what else was there? People would scream.
A celebration throughout Oz. That's all to do with her, which is
A celebration throughout Oz, which is all to do with
died.
her, which already happened in the beginning of the film, which was when they were celebrating that she was dead.
When people see me, they will scream.
When people see me, they'll scream. Now, that one is a good one because you could be like, oh, they'll scream because they love you so much. It's like, no, they'll scream because they're terrified of you, which is what happened. So she got the unintentional stuff. So that's why we don't just say or do things vainly, where we vainly focus on what we want. We focus on the feeling. And that's why Neville Goddard talked about the fact that the feeling was the secret. Because ultimately what we want is to cultivate the feeling of what we desire and what we want, and through doing that we get our desire.
And also, she wanted to be half of Oz's favorite team, the Wizard and I, which he does invite her to be, his magical Grand Vizier.
Well, it's not just that he invites her to do that. She is part of every iteration of the Wizard of Oz. She is the part of like the greatest duo for the Wizard of Oz, with her and the Wizard, and her and Dorothy. You can't have the Wizard of Oz without the Wicked Witch of the West.
Right, but it's not. We're touching back on the unintended.
No, I'm just saying that it was correct that it did actually happen twice in both instances. But yeah, you're right. That's another unintentional one. She thought it was supposed to be her working together with the wizard in a constructive way, when in actuality it's not the case. I saw a short on the Wizard of Oz. Let's see what Emma said. I saw a short on the Wizard of Oz today that says the Good Witch was manipulative and used Dorothy to do what she wanted. Which technically, yeah, she did. That was 100% fact. That was true. She was manipulated by the powers that be and had no clue what was going on, and neither did the audience, according to what happened in Wicked.
What, baby?
When creating, oh yeah, my understanding is shifting in relation to feeling. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's ultimately what we want. Is we want a shift in relation to how we feel, so that we move into the position that we prefer, which is usually a new identity, which is reflected by the desire. Because what we want is, we don't want a car to exist. We don't want a Ferrari to just exist. We want the Ferrari to exist in relation to us. We want to change our identity, which is where our identity goes from somebody who wants a Ferrari to somebody who has a Ferrari. I am a Ferrari owner. That's the transition that we're doing whenever we talk about manifestation, is to move from the feeling or the identity position of wanting a thing to having the thing and being the person who has the thing for a long period of time, because you usually don't want to just be an owner for a day. You want to be an owner of this thing for a long period of time so that you enjoy it and that you reap whatever the benefits are of that identity position that you want to be in. So the feeling isn't the only indicator, is my understanding. The feeling is the main indicator. It's like that's like the dashboard. When you're driving in a car and you have the dashboard inside the car, and the dashboard is letting you know how fast you're going. The miles per hour, kilometers per hour is the big thing that lets us know how fast we're going, specifically in the car. And that the way that we feel is the equivalent of that on the dashboard. It's letting us know how fast or what's going on related to our feelings. So it's the main indicator. It's not the only indicator, but it is the main indicator. Yeah, the new identity is ultimately what we're trying to do. We want to feel comfortable in a new identity. We want to turn a word, we want to turn the want into an I am phrase. When you own for a long time, you're not excited. It's normal. Yes, that is correct, Helen. That's one of the consequences of ownership of a thing. When you finally move from where you're somebody who, when you finally make the move from somebody who desires the thing to somebody who has the thing, there is the initial period of excitement, but afterwards it's just kind of like normal. It's like your everyday stuff. We're about to go into Christmas time, which is like the perfect example of this. That is so funny that you mentioned microwaves, because this live was originally going to be called Microwave Manifesting, and it was supposed to talk about why your manifestations haven't showed up yet. So that's so funny that you mentioned microwaves, David. Yeah, make sure that the little one's warm and toasty, because it's pretty cold. Yeah, when you have a thing for a long time, it's just part of your life, and we do want to appreciate the things that we have and spend time enjoying them. Um, but whenever we have something for a very long time, we're actually supposed to become, to a certain degree, uncomfortable, because in becoming uncomfortable, then we desire to do something different, or to do something more, or to do something new. And the beautiful thing about relationships is that you can always make things new. That was so funny that she had. But then she moved it away. Yeah, true microwaves will lead to spiritual. True microwaves will lead to spiritual healing and spiritual awakening. Is that a question though, David? Because technically speaking, putting higher frequency vibrations into the body can be constructive if they are like harmonious. If they're harmonious vibrations, which is where we're talking about stuff like really good music, as opposed to listening to high frequency noise. Um, you want to listen to constructive stuff, or feel constructive vibrations that allow you to, construct and feel good in your body. But it's like feelings and frequencies have the ability to change your life and to change your body. That's why we have things that could happen when you shoot yourself with X-rays. Not a constructive thing. Shot with nuclear radiation. Not a constructive thing. But at higher rates of vibration, there are constructive forms of higher rates of vibration. Why do you want me to say that? What else happened in The Wizard of Oz that would be related to manifestation?
Well, it's a spoiler for part two, but so maybe we shouldn't say it.
No, let's focus on part one because there's always more stuff in there. Alexandria Johnson,
Wow.
2024. I manifested a historical theater to show The Wizard of Oz for free. Wow, really? That's super cool. And ideal seats with refreshments, and it was a street name that I chose as well. It was for practice to give myself a good. That's actually really cool. No, I don't. Sadly, no, no, I ain't serving up. Sorry, Jar. um, no, no. People do that over on Snapchat, not on YouTube. I don't know people serving up on YouTube.
Serving up some gems and some wisdom.
Yeah, serving up some gems and some wisdom. That's some good. That's a good one, mom, mommy. So we watched the movie. We know what was gonna happen. Oh, we started talking about like,
Bach.
what about him? What
Um,
about Bach or
he
SpongeBob?
wanted to get with Glinda, so he to get closer to her, he got with Nessa Rose, and then spoiler, part two. No, that's too tangential. Well, it's not necessarily like a manifestation.
Yeah, yeah, not necessarily.
Well, Fierro talks
Oh wait,
about
hold up. What am I doing?
being brainless.
Wait, hold up.
What?
I forgot because you guys actually can hear mommy. Here you go.
Thanks. I'm a disembodied voice like the Wizard of Oz.
So that's
Is she
SP.
awake?
No, she's asleep. So that's
Aw.
SP over there, so you guys can hear her. The special SP who's sleeping with the baby. Well, the baby's sleeping on her over there. So what else? What else happened in the movie? Well, it was funny because we went to go watch it with Sophia. That was like super fun. It was actually our
That was
daughter's first movie.
hilarious.
She was hilarious. It was hilarious having her in the movie. Surprisingly, she actually did. Yeah, she is a wizard. The funny thing is, uh, yeah, because you're a disembodied voice, Bebe.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, yeah. So Alexandria Johnson was like, "Your
Thank you.
your lady is a wizard." All right, wizard. Ah!
Bring her to me.
Bring her to. Oh, Alphabet. I didn't know it was you. Little tap dance. Um,
Well, he talked about always wanting to be a parent.
do a backflip. Nah. Oh well, yeah. Well, he did. He he did
He
talk. The
manifested that
wizard.
child.
The wizard did manifest a child, and he manifested being a parent. Although he wasn't the best parent. He manifested
Well,
being a
he
parent.
didn't know he
He
was a
didn't manifest
parent.
being a good father. Those are two
Yeah,
different things.
that's true.
And that goes back to the whole genie thing, where it's like you have to be very particular about what you say or what you feel. Be very clear in the image of what you want to create, so it creates you imply what you desire through the thing that you end up pushing out, instead of just trying to get something in specific. Yeah,
We discussed this in A Sentimental Man. For those of you who are using the musical's libretto,
yeah.
you're following along.
Sentimental man. I'm a sentimental man. Yeah. So he was really good. Um,
Well, in Popular, Glinda gives Elphaba a makeover, right? That's supposed to make her popular, and now that hat became part of the witch's iconography.
yeah, it did. It made her more popular. And they were laughing and joking around like, "Oh, you can't give it to her." It's like, "Oh, I don't hate somebody that much." You didn't hate her that much, and you gave it to her, and she actually loved it because I think that was probably one of the first gifts that somebody else gave to her,
Yeah.
except for throwing insults. Gave her a hat. So, how do you manifest being a good father? That's a good question.
Self concept is tied into that.
It is. It is. Self concept is tied into that. That was actually like one of the major. That was one of the major reasonings for me wanting to manifest my SP back was, and that's part of the reason why it was easier for me to go through any of the tougher, difficult things, was because I wasn't just concerned with having her back. It was also my concern with being a good dad. I wanted to be there for like my daughter. I wanted to be there for her. I wanted to be there for both of them. And when you have a strong enough why of why you do things, it's much easier for you to do things that would be considered right or the best things. So for me, I wanted to make sure that I got my my little family, take care of my family. So part of manifesting being a good father is really fi- one of the parts is like finding good role models and learning. What's up, Mitchell? Finding good role models and learning because when it comes to trying to improve in anything that you're trying to do, you have to have good role models. And the strange thing is, most men's role models for fatherhood are from art, like TV and movies. And we usually use those examples of stuff. We got Joel from The Last of Us. You got the daddening that's happened in video games and other things. So you got
Lee from The Walking Dead.
yeah, you got Lee from The Walking Dead, the Telltale game version, not the show.
Yeah.
The show you got Carl and what's his dad's name? How did I forget the main guy's name from Walking Dead?
I know his real life name is Andrew
Rick
Lincoln.
Grimes.
Oh,
Rick
yes.
Grimes. Rick Grimes. Then you got Kratos from God of War. You got the surrogate fathers, which are so big, which are such big characters and have been such big characters for a very, very, very freaking long time. You got Batman, who's like one of the OGs. You got Geralt, which is one of the more modern ones. Geralt from The Witcher. Who else? You got a lot of those examples, but people need to find actual living examples of good fatherhood. So reading good books from good dads or like famous historical figures that are good dads, listening to interviews from good fathers, looking around your like local area and finding good fathers, good examples of fathers. And that's why it's important to have connections with like people in conferences, especially in like whatever industry that you're in, whether you're in tech or you're in marketing or anything else, meeting people, but most importantly, meeting good mentors who could coach you through the process of being a good father, especially if you didn't have a good one or a good example. Same thing for mothers too. Uh, we need elders. We need older individuals who can shed light on the process because it's something that they've been through before. So, part of the process of just being a good father is finding good father figures and working to do everything in your power to be a good father figure. And if you had somebody in your life who was not a good father figure or who fell short as a father figure, use their failure, just like in stories, as an opportunity to show you how to be a better father. Yeah. Because, I love my dad. My dad's awesome, and he's done a lot and gone through a lot. But what happened between him and my mom, it was a good example of like, hey, I want to do better, and that became a really good example for me to want to do better in my life, to be a good father, was to do the hard thing. And I guess that's one of the lessons that I can share about being a good father is being a good father is not always about doing what's the easiest thing for yourself. Sometimes it's about doing a hard thing. Yeah, girl dad is a cool thing. Although I will say this about the girl dad thing. That's where we get into templates and where things can get crossed up and like messed up. I do like that dads are involved in their daughters' lives. I don't like where the girl dad concept goes to the point where it moves into the space where the dad's a surrogate mom. I don't like those things personally. I'm not a big fan of that because then like with dads doing the nail painting with the daughters and all that stuff in the tea parties, you can be at the tea party, but like dressing up as a princess, I find that a strange model for dads to have like intimacy with their children and connection with their children, because that removes mom from being there, because that's a great place for moms to interact with their kids. And daughters ultimately want to have those experiences with mommy, and it's a beautiful, lovely thing to have together. And to place dad in that position is, I guess, kind of weird sometimes, because it removes mom from that place, because moms and dads have both of their places in their kids' lives, because both are important. No, not saying that two dads shouldn't be parents, but that's not most cases. I'm talking about like most cases. If we're talking most cases, yeah, your shoe. If we're talking most cases, which is where most kids show up, if it's two parents, they're gonna have a mom and a dad. And I think moms and dads should be there for their children. Controversial. But if we have an experience where a kid has been given to foster care and given away for adoption, or they have two parents that happen to be same sex, then that's fine. But that's not the most common like denominator between when kids are made. Uh, the wizard stole my fried chicken.
Wizard what?
Somebody said I was bamboozled. I was tricked. A wizard stole my fried chicken.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so that's an interesting one, Emma. Um, and that's where things get difficult if you want your family, and things end up where you end up splitting. There are scenarios where that does make sense, and things need to be worked out in a different way. Um, but I like having conversations with people who do have the opportunity to repair their relationships. I do have one coaching client that's currently working through. Actually, no, that's not true. I've had multiple clients that have worked through divorce, and it's not a fun thing. It becomes increasingly difficult after that process. Um, but if we're talking about like for well-being of kids, if situations are salvageable, I think it's really like great for the kids to have their parents together. Because it's as a kid who grew up with my parents being split and separated, I definitely know the firsthand the detrimental effects of just not having both parents in the household, even though they may be present in your life, just not having them there interacting with each other, kind of like, I guess at least personally for me, like had its effects. Just like having the two people that made you just not there together. Although my parents were always very cordial and very cooperative, and they're still good friends to this day, and it's been an awesome thing to see. But it would have been nice to have my parents together. You know. I guess my question lies in what is good. My values are very, very different from my kids' dads. Oh, okay, yeah, well, that does. And my judgment of good is something that can get in the way of experiencing peace and ease no matter what. That's a circumstance I have no control over. So that's actually a really good one, Emma. So, and I'm glad that you did your best, Emma. That's an important thing. Um, I guess this portion is for people who haven't necessarily gotten into a serious relationship, and I think it's a conversation that most people need to have, which is when you're making the selection of your partner in the courting process should also include discussions of what your values for like long-term relationships are and how you want to raise your children and all that stuff. Because if you get to the point where you want certain things and you and your partner don't see eye to eye on it, that causes a lot of friction and problems. And during the that should be something that's brought up and discussed during the courting process and not after, a long time of being in a relationship. So thinking more long term when in the courting and early stages is super important. I mean, even with Stephanie, like when I first talked to her, like you could tell them what I told you in the very beginning. What did I
Well,
tell
when we
you?
first met.
Yeah, no, not when we first met. When we first started talking, what were some of the things that I told you? That you were
Uh,
like, oh,
oh, that we'd make beautiful kids.
yeah, because kids were top of mind from the beginning. I was like, I knew, and that's why I had conversations with you about stuff like how you wanted to raise kids. And we talked about baby names. Although baby names are something that most couples talk about, there was more than that. We talked about not wanting to do public schools. That's something that we saw eye to eye on. There were other things that were, major values that we cared about, like not getting the baby jabbed. Very controversial.
Yes.
Highly controversial. Can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Only could talk about that one in private company. But yeah, that was a big one. Oh no, wait, how much?
Oh my God, did we just get taken off?
No, 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 no. It's I'm low on battery. Um, Yeah, when it comes to boys, boys really do need the presence of their father. Like the father just and it's so strange to talk about, but like fathers themselves, the presence of dad makes a very big difference in like how boys are able to regulate because they need a strong structure to clash against, to know where the boundaries are. Um One thing that you can do, which is important, is you can end up manifesting uh, a another relationship that is good for you. But that process does require forgiveness and like releasing a lot of stuff, because people still can find love, and that happens after, let's say, like your ideal partner passes and dies. Especially with like older people, I have a lot of people in my family who are older. Um, yeah. um, yeah. Oh, I need to have like one of those back plugs. This is probably gonna die at any minute now, so just letting you guys know if it ends up cutting off. It's not because the big farmer decided to cut off the stream. It's because the thing is about to die.
Well, maybe it's that.
Yeah. Yeah. Forgiveness is a very big part of it. And when you end up forgiving yourself and clearing and cleansing any of the regret or guilt, and know that you're still worthy of love no matter what happened in the situation, you can open yourself up to have an ideal relationship. And that happens, like even for my grandmother uh, did manifest a relationship that could have been ideal, which was with my grandfather after her husband was assassinated. um yeah, my family's history is like crazy on both sides. My grandmother lived in a Caribbean country. Our family was very involved in government, like prime ministers and stuff like that. And her husband was assassinated. And later on in life, she already had about like what 7 kids, and her last kid was with my grandfather, who was the father of my mom, like my mom. But like this was after like what, several years after the death of her husband, probably like another almost like 10 years afterwards, because I know that she stayed in the country for like another 7 years, which I did not know until like recently. I didn't know she stayed in the country after her husband's assassination, so that was the news to me. Yeah. uh Well, that's good that you met yourself because of the process. That's one of the things that ends up happening, is that we learn more about ourselves. Even when things were rough between me and Stephanie, the process was a beautiful one because I learned way more about myself and what I'm capable of, and I wouldn't have as much compassion, empathy, or understanding if I hadn't gone through that. Hell, I wouldn't even have the channel if that wasn't the case. So I thank you for all those parts, because you, Bebe, you helped me with changing and becoming better dad, and better partner. Love you, okay?
Love you too.
Ooh, you met a new man. Okay. Which I manifested in the ending. Because, yeah, self worth and self love is a very important part of the process. Forgiveness is the clearing out of the pipes and releasing the old stuff so that you can allow the feeling of love to take place in the body. And that's why we do stuff like the Neville Goddard exercises or stuff like Joe Dispenza and meditations, ultimately so that you do self love, because self love is just feeling love in meditation. If you can feel love in meditation, that is the reflection of what true self love is, because you've given yourself the feeling of love.